Hello and welcome back to a deadline day special video today. You've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail, you know what it's about. Marcelo Bielsa has finally got his man. But before we talk about Dan James, you know what you need to do. Like the video, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment with your thoughts on the video and the transfer. Is it a good move for Leeds? Is it a good move for Dan James? Let me know what you think. Hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps me out more than you even imagine. So now that you've done that, let's talk about Dan James. Dan James is finally a Leeds United player after almost 2.5 years of waiting. He was at Thorpe Arch, he was at Ellen Road 2.5 years ago, signed the contract, had the photos done, but Swansea didn't answer the call. He is finally here. And I, for one, I'm glad. I'm happy. Bielsa's always wanted him. He was one of the first players on Bielsa's list to sign, I'm sure. And now the chance has come along and we jumped at it. I've seen that it's very 50-50, this signing with the Leeds fans. He hasn't been incredible at Manchester United, but I think we need to look at the Dan James that we were going to sign from Swansea. That really attacking player, the guy that was getting loads of goals, getting loads of assists. He's not had an amazing amount of confidence at Manchester United, which I'm sure has had an effect on him. But I'm sure once Bielsa gets his hands on him, the effect of him will turn James's form around and make him the player that Man United signed, not the player that Man United had. Personally, I think it's a good signing. It gives us a bit more depth on the wing. Realistically, between Rafinha and Harrison, once you go past there, there's no real competition. Costa doesn't really do much. Somerville hasn't played a professional game yet. I think it'll give those two a little bit of a kick up the backside, and hopefully they'll start to improve more as well now that there's a little bit of competition. It also gives us the potential to try and play Harrison or Rafinha down the middle in the number 10 role, which has been spoken about a fair few times. I wonder if that's going to happen or whether we will have one of the three on the bench. Dan James on the counter-attack for Leeds is going to be something beautiful to see, hopefully, because Dan James's speed is incredible. He will allow us to play on the counter-attack more than we have been. For those times that we aren't dominating possession as much, we can use his pace to get up the field quickly and get a goal. We can play a long ball over the top for Dan James to run onto. And honestly, if Bielsa's wanted him for pretty much 3 years now, there's got to be a reason behind it. He doesn't just want any player. He has his lists, he has his documents. When Bielsa did that massive Spygate presentation, absolutely exposing Frank Lampard's Derby County, he had a file named Dan James. He has studied this boy. He knows exactly how he's going to use him, exactly what he wants him to do, exactly what he needs him to do. So as long as Dan James is ready to work hard, I think it's going to be a great signing for us. And I'm sure he will. He doesn't seem like he's one to just coast by. I've seen people say, why are we signing another winger when we have Somerville on the bench? I have said myself that I would love to see Somerville start to have a little bit of a go, come off the bench. But you can't compare Dan James and Crescencio Somerville with the experience that they both have. Dan James has Premier League experience, he has international experience, he has European competition experience, and he's got goals and assists in all three of them. Crescencio Somerville is an under-23s player. He's not played a senior game of football yet. And yeah, I understand wanting to see Somerville play, but you can't compare Premier League, European, international football to the under-23s. And along with that, people are going to say it's a bit of a panic buy because of the way we've started our season. It's not a panic buy at all. Angus has always said that they're open to doing deals. It just has to be the right one for the club at that time. They're not just going to sign someone for the sake of signing someone. And if something comes up, they'd do it. Sometimes they have a target that isn't available for the whole of the window, and then some things happen and the target is then available. Look at Rafinha last year. Rafinha was on the list, he wasn't available for the whole of the window, and then the last few days he became available and we signed him. It's exactly the same actually, which has happened with Dan James. He wasn't available for the whole of the transfer window. Ollie wanted to keep him. They signed Ronaldo. James is available, we'll take him. And that's the same answer to the people that are questioning why we haven't signed a centre mid and we've signed a winger. Maybe the centre mids on the list that we want aren't available, or aren't available for an appropriate price. I'm sure Lewis O'Brien at Huddersfield is available for a price that Huddersfield are probably overstating a bit. I'm sure Orta, Rads, Kinnear and Bielsa all think that the price that Huddersfield are asking for is too much, so they're not going to do the deal. They're not just going to pay over the odds for someone just because they need a player. It doesn't make sense. Which brings me nicely back onto the price for Dan James. £25 million up front with probably 5 million add-ons, I think. I've seen people say it's around 30 million altogether. Considering we were going to sign him for around 7 million with add-ons 2.5 years ago, and Man United signed him for 15 million, it is a lot of money for someone that isn't guaranteed to start. However, you have to take into account, since we were going to sign him, he's played more international games. He's got 2 years of Premier League experience under his belt. He's got Premier League goals and assists under his belt. He's got European football under his belt. I'm not sure if he has scored in European football or not, but that is going to add a lot of money onto his transfer fee. And also he has a fairly long contract at Man United as well. So you do actually have to pay him out of the contract that he's already in at Man United. Personally, I am very excited to see Dan James play for Leeds. I was very excited when we were going to sign him in the Championship. And I think if we did sign him in that January window in the Championship, we would have been promoted that season. We wouldn't have had to go through the playoffs and lose to Derby in the semi-finals. He's been all right at Man United. He's not set the world alight. He's been okay. But you have to remember that at Man United, he was being coached by a PE teacher. Here at Leeds, he is going to be coached by one of the best coaches in the world. So he is going to improve. And he's still young, so he's got plenty of time for Bielsa to work with him. I think he's signed a 5-year deal. So personally, I'm not worried. The big question is, will he be involved against Liverpool? I don't think so. He might be on the bench, but he wouldn't have trained with Leeds much, if at all, before that Liverpool game, because he's away on international duty with Wales. And we know that Bielsa loves his players to have a good week or two's training in them until they even come off the bench. I don't think he'll be made to play in the under-23s for a while, because fitness-wise I think he's already pretty fit. He's had a full pre-season, he's played games already this season, so I think it's just the style of play he'll need to adapt to. So if we're lucky, he'll be on the bench against Liverpool, but don't hold your breath. I think it might be a good few weeks until we see him properly play for Leeds. Now, where does this signing of Dan James leave Helder Costa? At the time of recording, Costa is still a Leeds player. There are still a few hours left of the transfer window, and there are rumours of Valencia wanting to sign him. I think the signing of Dan James ends Costa's Leeds United career. If he doesn't leave this window, I think he'll be leaving next window. Because looking to the future, we have Rafinha, Harrison, Dan James. We have Somerville on the bench waiting to get his chance. Pervader's out on loan at Blackburn, and in the statement it said we are looking forward to welcoming him back next year. So that is 5 wingers for 2 positions, and that's without Costa. So his time at Leeds is done. In the Premier League he's not really done much for us, and I think it is right for him to be leaving. He'll need to play football. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a last minute deal in that, or if it's just the next window that he goes. But yes, Bielsa finally has his man. Victor Orta finally has his man as well. He was incredibly emotional on the Amazon Prime documentary when the transfer didn't go through. It's a special one for him. And I'm sure Dan James is glad to finally be at a big club. He's not going to be here just to sit on the bench. He's going to want to play football. It's the reason why he left Man United, to play football. So I look forward to that competition with Harrison, Rafinha and Dan James. So thank you very much for watching this very last minute deadline day video. Enjoy the rest of deadline day, and I will see you whenever I see you in the next video. Thank you very much.